several hybridization experiments with true breeding pea lines, which had sharply contrasting characters. One such experiment was the crossing of a tall and a dwarf pea plant. Since the cross was between plants that differed in a single trait, that is, height. In this case, Mendel called it a monohybrid cross. Furthermore, Mendel called the tall and the dwarf plants in this experiment the parental or the P generation. After the cross between the tall and dwarf plants, Mendel collected the seeds and planted them to produce the first hybrid called the F1 generation, or the first filial of plants. He found that all the plants in the F1 generation were always tall, like one of the parents, and the dwarfness had disappeared. Mendel conducted similar experiments with other pairs of traits and made certain observations. Every single time, he found that the F1 hybrid resembled only one of the parents, while the other parent's trait was missing. To explore this further, Mendel self-pollinated the F1 hybrids to produce a second hybrid generation of plants, known as the F2 generation, or second filial of plants. Interestingly, this time, the progeny included both tall and dwarf plants in a definite ratio. 3/4 of the plants in the F2 hybrid were tall, while 1/4 was dwarf. Mendel also noticed that the plants did not show blending or mixing. That is, none of them were of in-between height. Once again, to confirm his observations, Mendel conducted experiments with other traits. His results were confirmed when he found that both the parental traits were expressed in the F2 hybrid in the proportion 3:1. Moreover, the contrasting traits did not show any blending in either the F1 or F2 stages. From his experiments, Mendel inferred that something was being stably passed on from parents to progeny over successive generations. This was the reason the dwarfness that had disappeared in the F1 hybrid had reappeared in the F2 hybrid. Mendel called this something factors, which are known as genes today. Genes are represented by letters for our convenience. The trait expressed in the F1 hybrid is denoted by a capital letter, while the other trait is denoted by a small letter. As all plants obtained in the cross between tall and dwarf plants were tall in the F1 hybrid, the tall trait is denoted by capital T, and the dwarf by small t. Here, capital T and small t are alleles of each other. That is, they are a pair of genes representing two alternative forms of the same character, namely the height of the plant. Therefore, pairs of alleles for height in plants